Okay, I have another question from our online audience. It's also an arts-related question, so I guess either of you can take it on. Looking back at the art scene from the 1980s to the present, do you think the scene has regressed or progressed?
Okay, I think there are a lot of ironies in this situation. Coming from a theatre background, theatre was, I think, really got a shot in the arm when the NAC decided to sponsor a lot of theatre companies. And I think the theatre companies were very aware of what was going on, very pleased to be able to receive more funds so we can do more. But at the same time, we were aware that there was an agenda of control with this funding. So it was a very double-edged kind of thing. But in my opinion, I think like theatre in Singapore, the numbers of audience since I started anyway have gone exponential. Like we used to get maybe 3,000 people watching us total for a whole run of a theatre project, and now it's way above that. It's in tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands, depending on the venue. And a lot of that is due to the fact that we got the funding. We were more ambitious with productions in terms of production values and things like that. But it was also due to the fact that the theatre practitioners were able to negotiate with the authorities about the content. The theatre practitioners became wiser, became more experienced, became more aware of how the authorities were practicing their control agenda. And so managed to talk to some individuals, sometimes to get through to some individuals within the authorities to get things changed slightly, So on the one hand, there was progress. On the other hand, the agenda, I have no doubt the agenda was also for control. And it still continues now. But it's ironic that the theatre audiences have grown, the theatre production values have grown, and indeed what is addressed, the content, has indeed grown despite the attempt to control and to inhibit.
Alfian? Thoughts, Alfian? Thoughts from you? Regress or progress?
It's a very difficult question because like how will you define progress, right? So if it's just purely in terms of quantity, of course, there's so many more plays these days, and any weekend you'd be spot for choice before COVID. That said, I think when it comes to liberalization, I think it's selective liberalization. So in many countries, in many authoritarian countries, you will see that the first things that get liberalized will be things like sexuality, for example, right? So in the 80s, it would be impossible to stage a queer play. But I think recently, you're able to, although they will still slap an R18 rating on those, right? So I think what's the frontiers, the next frontiers when it comes to challenging censorship would be over certain things like race, religion, as well as politics. Politics, I think, is really the final frontier. So I will say yes, liberalization, but maybe in certain departments and certain aspects rather than others. Yeah.